What'd you learn on first base that took you into the real estate business?
That's a great question. Probably my love of sports, came from playing with family, right? And so all of my family were in the new construction business. They were framers, and they framed for some of the biggest builders here in St. Louis. I mean, biggest not as volume, but as far as like custom homes, expensive. And I remember my cousin telling me one time, this is about the year 1999, that he knew of a builder that was going to sell he had 300 grand in the land and 700 grand in the house. That was $1 million. He was going to sell it for 1.4. And then the neighbor across the street listed his old house for 1.4. And he said, well, if that guy thinks his is worth 1.4, mine should be worth 1.8. And so he listed it for 1.8 and he made 800 grand on the deal. And my cousin looked at me and says, wouldn't you hate that? And I said, hate what? He goes, paying taxes on making $800,000. And I go, no, that's exactly the kind of problems I'm looking for. And it just kind of shows you how like people's brains, like he looked at that as a problem, having to pay taxes on making $800,000. And I just found that always funny. And like, I think with life, perception is a big deal. I've always wanted to grow, and we'll talk about today, my curiosity of finding the perfect real estate deal. Right, I'm a single family guy. I used to do new construction, but it didn't fit my personality. And it's made me graduate all the way back into wholesaling, and so I've kind of done this business backwards where a lot of people, the people listening today might be thinking about starting out, and everybody I talk to that wants to start out wants to start wholesaling. And then they're going to get into rentals and then flips and then maybe development. What I'm trying to tell you is that wholesaling and rehabbing is probably a really good place just to be. You might not need to graduate past that. So anybody getting started today, I always say you got to break eggs to make omelets, right? So do not have analysis paralysis, because in the great business of real estate, even if you only make $5 grand on a deal and you thought you were going to make 50, you got paid for that education, right? What businesses are out there where you get paid to be educated? And that's what real estate will do for you.
Yeah, it's really we in order to curb my wife's Amazon habit, and I don't believe that I'm the only person that's had that. We actually it landed in our lap and we said yes. And I won't go into the story, but we're about to turn a duplex into a single family home in a pretty hot area. It's just, my broker usually takes these on herself. And couldn't because of a conflict of interest, and said there'll be, multiple offers by the end of the day if you don't do something now. And, in our market, I want to get back to what you do, but it's really interesting because we're building our team. I do multifamily stuff, and we're going to do this as a project. And I believe there's enough meat on the bone that we're not going to lose money. And I'm not going to get wowed by the numbers because I'm a little bit older but now than I was, when I was 20. But this is about building the team, and everybody in this business, which she's learning, is really open to helping everybody be successful in this business. And it's not competitive against, your buddy Joe who's flipping or fixing and flipping or building a portfolio. It's such a collaboration that it's really exciting. So like, I didn't mean to jump in there. So you're kind of done it all, and you're landing back into deal making. You're a deal junkie.
That's what solving the problem. And the scarcity mindset, which is what I think you're talking about there with newbies, you can almost tell how long they've been in the business when they have that scarcity mindset. And when you've done some deals and you've got some traction, that kind of hopefully goes away, where you're not all about in it for me. And I think with what your broker was talking about there, like the collaborative nature comes from being confident in yourself and doing it. And so I hope every newbie gets some deals going so they can get that confidence, so they can get to that point where they have an abundance mentality instead of a scarcity mindset.
It's a huge thing.